Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you may be. Stamp collecting is fun, and we're going to have a little bit of a look into some India stamps that I have been sorting out in this little album, stock book really. It's on the back of this, Queen Victoria heads. I went searching and I found, not all, but a number of India stamps. Well, I thought actually get round to sorting them out instead of them being all over the place. So I tried to gather as many as I could in one place and then sort them into India and Indian states. Now I know nothing, zero, about what I'm talking about here with Indian states and India. Is it the British Raj? Is it the British Empire? What are these Indian states? I've heard the word feudal states bandied around a little bit. I watched a couple of quick videos on India, and there are two different sorts of independent states. They basically had autonomy, but under the guidance, the wisdom of the British Empire, on whose benevolence they could probably do without. Anyway, that was from Carry On Up the Khyber. India and India states. So I don't want to go into the modern times. I just wanted to stick with the old stuff because that's the stuff that tickles my fancy. So we'll open up first of all, and as you can see I've put a label there to ensure that I know what this album is actually about. This is Chakhari state. We have some nice long stamps here. Now they're not in any... I've tried as best as I can without becoming too fussy about it. That's coffee I'm having. Coffee and stamps doesn't really mix because you can have a spillage, but I'll take the risk, I'll be careful. So, you know, when I see one Anna, and then two Annas, that seems to suggest that I'm putting them in some sort of order. I'm trying to, but without being too over the top with it. What have we got here? Well, I separated these two because those are nice and long. These are a bit bigger and fatter. They're also quite linen, some of them. And it's got the leg, so this may be... You know, there's a lot of English in that. And in this, as we go on with other states, there's a distinct lack of the English language. And I suggest they may be the actual feudal ones. Here we've got a half Anna. So possibly they should go in front of that, but I've kept them separate down here. I may move them around. I don't really want to be moving stamps around because then you can damage them, especially with my tweezers, my swingers, my prongs. Cochin, or Cochin, sounds Chinese, doesn't it? Because India's a big old place, and you go all the way up, say, to Tibet, the roof of the world, and you get a lot of Slavics, you know, Far Eastern, rather than India, you know what I mean. So I would suggest, did you know there are more Catholics in India than there are in Spain? Here, so, you know, you've got to bear in mind, India is a big old place. Cochin and Chal. Now, I think Cochin is the state, and Anchal may be something else. If you know, let me know. Two pies. I don't know how many pies make a Anna, and I don't know how many Annas make a rupee. But it shows that we've all heard of rupees. Pies or peas, I'm not that sure on. Well, we've got a cancel here that says on and C and G. Is G government? On? I don't know. On CGS? On central government? Or I think this coaching may be some part of some sort of governmental agency as a ruling state, as a state that is being ruled, rather than part of the Raj. I don't know, again. On CGS is all over that stamp. This one is clear. He looks handsome, doesn't he? So, you know, he's a prince. Again, that overprint is there and there. and there. So time is moving sort of on a little bit. There's a couple of different photographs there, and I suggest they are photographs or impressions. OCGS, 1 Anna, 2 Anna, he's looking a bit old there, and 2¼ Anna, I think. I ain't sure. And coaching, I quite a few of those. Jaipur, I think that many of us will have heard of Jaipur. Jaipur State, very kind of them to put that in English, and then down here we have the Hindu language or Hindi language, and we got service. Sometimes the stamps without the overprints are worth more than those overprinted. Indore, again, service is there, half an Anna, half another Anna, and this has actually been through the post, you can see there. It's got a bit of a date, 3rd of March, something or other. I must say that I do love them, and they are very, very sweet. Travancore. You can tell these Travancores because they've got like, sort of a question mark. Is it a snail? Is it a I don't know, some sort of mollusk? I'm not quite sure, but I tend to call it a question mark. Then I can identify him. And you've got chakrams, 4 chakrams. So they are using a different form of currency. How interesting is that? Did the word chukka come from chakrams? Did chukka, which is a, I think there are 4 chukkas in polo, horse, that horse riding game. Did it come from that? Is it derived from that? I'm just speculating here. But again, there's sort of different colours for different denominations. Again, OSS on Secret Service. Yes. Never say never. Yeah, we carry on. I've got a number of these. On senior service. I'm making stuff up. 10 cash there. 10 cash. Again, I'm not sure, but we turn the page with this because Travancore seems to be a very, very, very popular stamp in my kind of collection. Again, I think this one's upside down. Let's just turn it up the right way. Yeah, that's better. Again, chakram is there. Yeah, anyway, we'll move quickly on. We've seen enough of that. Saurashtra. Saurashtra. Oh, I think I may have messed this one up. No, I haven't. Saurashtra. Well, it would be. All that travelling on an elephant. Half an Anna. Sakari. Overprint, I believe. The Proud Lion. No overprint on this. Yes. Slightly butchered, but they've had the common decency, and it's half of something, half an Anna, maybe. But they've had the decency to keep the lion. Shastra, never heard of the place. It gives me something to do after to actually look it up and do a bit of work for once. Gwalior. Now, I've put these as overprints. They don't say the word Gwalior. 2 Annas there and half an Anna there. I'll have to swap those over in a minute. But you'll see the overprint, which AI does tell me, Google Lens does tell me, is an overprint for Gwalior. The fact that it's in the Hindi language tells me that this is probably independent of Britain at this point. Hyderabad, I think we've all heard of a Hyderabad. Possibly, by the way, Gwalior. In Wales we have a Gwalior, which is like singing and performing Gwalior. It's like a Gwalior choir. I wonder if, because that wasn't this was Gwalior. Was it given the name Gwalior by the British, or was it Gwalior when they got there? Here we've got Hyderabad, some nice little stamps, and this is again is post Britain, I would suggest. So possibly it doesn't quite belong here, but I think it's old enough to qualify. Looks old enough. By the way, all my Queen Vics are in this. They're not in here. So we go now to the Kings, and I always think Kevin when I see that, but we'll call it King Edward VII. Here we have Trin State. So yes, I could start a page for the Trin State and for Gwalior, but I've decided I'm going to, if it's a King's Head, whatever's on it is going in this section. But that's nice. Trin State, Patiala again, Gwalior, Patiala again. Those are quite nice. You want them if you can without the overprint, because it's not a civilian thing, I would suggest. I don't know what I'm talking about. King George V. You know, this has been through the post. You can tell that. Patua State, Patia State, Gwalior. Those are the same denoms. I think that was the fourth. Again, we're out of the English language and into the Indian, but we're not out of there till 45. So maybe I'm mistaken with that. That's been butchered. India Post. Pies. We see Pies again, which is the lowest of the low. Service, Gwalior, Natalia, Service, Patiala State. All look upable, all of interest, all YouTubeable. You know, you can tap the Patiala in there and it'll tell you what it looks like to this day and what it looked like yesterday. Service, don't know. Calcutta there. It's a cutter, so you call it Calcutta. And here we've got an old, bigger stamp. Mr. Bigger. And finally, there's always an unfinally moment. King George VI. And this time I've put them out in half an anna. Pies have gone by this time. Inflation, dear boy. 1A, 1 anna. Again, the red. You notice the red, 1 anna. So the 1 anna, like the 1 penny and the 1 cent, is red, usually. Almost always. Not always, but almost always. India postage. Is that? That's actually 3 pies now that I've said that. So pies still exist. You can post a letter for 3 pies. 9 pies. I think these will have to... Oh, I'll tell you what I'm doing. You see the circular thing there, the oval screening of the king. Bertie, King George. It's round. So we put those in some sort of order. Though I think these... It looks untidy if I put those... You know what I mean. We then have no background whatsoever. Again, we're back to 4 annas, 8 annas, 12 annas. We then have the block at the back, so a block of colour at the back, so the king comes forward a little bit. There and there. Come along, Bertie. And finally we have the square framing. We have some sort of cancel, nice postal cancel. Something here. So those are 4 different issues, if you will. Now, how many there are in every issue, I don't know. If you are excited enough to tell me, if you know and you're excited enough, let me know in the comments below. And finally, it's always that unfinally moment, we have the service of the big 1 rupee. So you can see pies, annas, building up to the 1 rupee. Oh yes. That is all for now. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Stamp collecting is fun. India is fun. I'm off to do a little bit of research, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.